My name is Richard G. Zimermann, and I'm a retired captain of the United States Navy. We went back to the States, and then I transferred from my job as operations officer on the Frankfurt to gunnery officer on the Wadsworth, which was boarded it in Vallejo, California. It was doing major repairs, and they had been bombed and dropped by a German by a Japanese dive bomber, and they were getting that repaired. And then I went out to sea with them back to Honolulu, and then out to the battle area. And the first battle area we came to was Ulithi, and that was sort of a strange battle because our job was to keep the submarines away and see that there were no boats attacking the American forces that were on the island there. And one time we had a battle that we never fired a shot because as we watched the radar and on the coast we could see this little blip coming out, and so we, as it went down the coast, we were just telling the Army where it was, and then where it started to go into the beach, we then used our floodlight so that the guys on the beach could see the boat just as though it were daylight, and they eliminated it in short order. And then the next was Iwo Jima. That was not a very pleasant operation. The Marines just did a marvelous job. The valleys ran the parallel to the island so that mortars could be hidden behind in these little valleys that you couldn't get your guns to shoot at because you couldn't see them. And one of the fire controlmen said, you know, looking through the glasses here of the director, when those guys fire those things off, the mortars off, that do so much damage to the Marines. If it's at dawn, there's no wind, they make smoke rings. And what I'd like to do is take a range on the smoke ring and then burst an air burst right over it. And boy, we just cleaned them out that day and never did see another one again. So that's what we did, and just did call fire, whatever they wanted. And at night, what you do is provide star shell illumination to be sure the Japanese didn't have an attack at night. And in fact, we did the same thing, of course, on Omaha Beach. At night, you could just be firing a star shell every 5 minutes. And you get used to the firing, and you just sleep right through it till the next watch where you did that yourself. And we had no surface battles. We went out after the Japanese battleship, but it was sunk by the Navy pilots, Navy flyers. It was the biggest battleship ever built. Yamato, I guess it was. But we never did get anywhere near enough to see it because it was taken care of by the planes. Okinawa was another story. We were a radar picket destroyer, and we went to radar picket stations. We spent more time on radar picket station than any other destroyer there. We did very well. A lot of the planes were trainers, were the ones that suicided us, and they had a top speed of 95 miles an hour. And when you're attacked with a lot of these, the important thing is that you can go about 35, 36 miles an hour on your destroyer. And one of the smart things to do is when they start getting ready to make their dive, and you see they're in their dive, and then they close their eyes towards the end as to hit you. In the meantime, you're going at 90 degrees to the flight coming down, and then all of a sudden that plane is heading in just astern of you. And we had a couple of three times the suicider didn't hit us. And of course, one time the guy woke up and looked up time enough to see, and he came spinning around on the other side of the ship and crashed into the water with a bomb on board, and that exploded and put a lot of shrapnel in the bow, but it didn't hurt anybody or didn't make the ship seaworthy in any way. Many times we would. The Japs would send down a single plane, and what we would do is get one of our night fighters up there that we had control of, and we would just vector them into the Japanese suicide planes as they came down. And that was very, very successful. Another act we did that was very successful. Generally speaking, it was we lost more destroyers there than anywhere else during the war. We were very fortunate. We quite often would relieve a destroyer that had been sunk, or the guy who would follow us would get sunk. We got in the 20s, 23, I guess, planes shot down and received the Presidential Unit Citation for our Okinawa and Iwo Jima operations. That was the last battle that I was in. The war was over, and then we came back to the States to unload all the guys who had enough points to get out,